collaboration with the Member of Parliament for the St. Joseph constituency, Terence D. Alsing, in conjunction with the Street 919 FM, presents our second annual Family Day on the 30th of May 2019 at the Arangway Savannah. Bring all the kids for their fun as we will have bouncy castle, horseback riding, fun and games, five-a-side football.
Oh Lord!
Food will be on sale from Sweet Hand Mummy Sauce and Jakey. Come out early, walk with your drinks as everything starts at 10 a.m. till we say when. It's all about family, titans of democracy, Street 9 Terence Yalsing, Member of Parliament for St. Joseph, Fun and Family Day, 30th of May 2019. See you there.
Simpsons Memorial Limited, number 63 Eastern Main Road, Laventille. Internationally accredited funeral directors and embalmers. A full-service funeral home serving families of Trinidad and Tobago and internationally since 1945. At Simpsons Memorial Limited, we serve with dignity in assisting families in honoring the memory of their loved ones. Our services include professional funeral and pre-planning, burials and cremation, custom-built and imported caskets, coffins and cremation trays, cemetery management, limousines, mourners cars, grief counseling, web streaming of funerals, fully air-conditioned chapel with live musical accompaniment, full global shipping and receiving of loved ones. We specialize in facial restorations. Call us anytime, day or night, at 623-8688. That number again is 623-8688. Simpsons Memorial Limited. Superior service, always with excellence.
Take me to the king. I don't have much to bring.
The Street 919 FM is pleased to introduce their Gospel and Worship Church package. This package gives the churches an opportunity to spread the word of the Lord on a frequency which has a wide listenership. If you are interested in being a part of this campaign, please contact our sales department at 628-3460. The Street 919 FM Gospel and Worship Church package.
We are family.
Bruce Wayne and the Sexy Flex come together again for the return of Love 3, Together as One, on Saturday 1st of June at the Police Mess Long Circular Road in St. James. It's all about love, together as one, with DJs Kabuki, Howie T, and your favorite Bruce Wayne. Get your tickets now, single $80, coupled $150, at the door $100. Tickets available in Mova, at Casey Cool, Foul Barbershop, and Mommy Sauce in Caranage, at Ford's Bar and Aldrin by the Savannah. Also at the Police Mess Long Circular Road and the Street 919 FM Maraval Road. Or call Sexy Flex and Bruce Wayne at 340-2016 or 388-2271. Saturday, June 1st, the return of Love 3, Together as One. It's a love thing.
News from the street. News from the street. 919fm.com.
News from the street.
News from the street.
From the Street 919 FM news team.
Delivering the facts on the biggest stories.
Informing you on matters of public interest.
Preparing you to face the world throughout the day, every day.
Current affairs.
Politics.
Public service announcements.
Sports, business, and more.
With major newscasts at 7 a.m.,
10 a.m.,
noon,
and 4 p.m.
News from the street. News from the street.
The Street News team of Jason Shields,
Rebecca Elias,
Sharon Felix,
Jason Thomas.
we keep you in the
We
know.
keep you in the know Monday to Friday.
News from the street. The Street 919 FM News.
News from the street.
We let you know what's happening.
Here's what's happening.
Better vision for your physical eyes, and through the eyes of faith, let healing arise in your mind, body, and spirit. At Natural Heal Ministries, we teach kingdom principles for living that brings the blessing of God to your mind, body, and soul.
NHM Professional Associates are located at number 10 Moody Stewart Street, Monrepos, San Fernando. For more info, contact Dr. Desmond Phillip at NHM on 349-3494.
NHM Professional Associates can be heard live on the Street 919 FM every Saturday from 9:05 to 9:55 a.m.
The return of Love 3, Together as One, June 1st. It's a love thing.
But you park on me clothes in a garbage bag. You put it on the ground by the roadside. You tell me get out your place to come inside. Baby, don't do me that, you go break my heart. Can't believe you're ready to give up on me just so. Cause if you want me to go, you can be looking the way you do. You can be cooking the way you do. You can be hooking me if you want me to go. You can be looking the way you do. You can be walking the way you do. Because you're hooking me. I don't know what to do, so I'm pleading. Plus you ain't give me no reason. You tell me this the end of we season. Mash up we think dress so. But you don't understand when you watch me. I said I see that I win the lottery. Or you go pick up just so and then dump me. No, baby, no. But you pack on me clothes in a garbage bag. You put it on the ground by the roadside. You tell me get out your place to come inside. Baby, don't do me that. You go break me heart. Can't believe you're ready to give up on me just so. Cause if you want me to go, you can be looking the way you do. You can be cooking the way you do. You can be hooking me if you want me to go. You can be looking the way you do. You can be walking the way you do. Because you're hooking me.
Come talk with us.
Real issues, hard talk.
Real talk on the street, 919 FM.
Like to hide in the dark to let the lips speak. Liquid supplement for them bird with a twisted and the chip beak. Hey, hey, ha. Find the waters high. Hey, 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 well, every time I show up, everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag, them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. When we arrive, bad minds start throw up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rags and the flag, them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag, them boom. I defy the odds, just like the Crips just defy the Bloods. Like how the wind scream defy the bugs. Like how the tall boats defy the mud, yeah. Them try stop me flow, so me do like Trino. And I rectify the clock. Wet me and put me in electric chair, but all they did was electrify the plugs. Watch me, them go hard, we go harder. I born for this, I'm the Luke Skywalker. There's no one in this business can go on like them are my father. Hey, why move with the red eye? Lightsaber axis the Viking Jedi. Drive over them like a semi. Hey, 20,000 can rise against me like zombies on Juve morning. Hey, they can't stop the garland. They can't stop the garland.
A pleasant good morning. Juliet is in the building. The time is 8:14 a.m. A pleasant good morning to the folks who keep it locked to the street 919 FM. You are inside the hour of one shot, one kill, where talk has never been more deadly. How are you all this morning? I am doing fine. Bruce is with me this morning, but he stepped away a bit from the studio. So let me say a pleasant good morning to Bruce and his family. Let me say a pleasant good morning to Sharon Felix, who didn't make it here this morning. Hoping that everything is okay with you, Sharon. Have a pleasant day. Folks, it is a beautiful day this morning. Every day is a beautiful day. As I continue to say, it does not matter the circumstances, the situation, the challenge. Once you have life, you will overcome, so that every day is a beautiful day, knowing that the man above have your back. Of course, if you want to see me live, Bruce was complaining this morning that I never ever mention it. If you want to see me live this morning or any other morning, just go to the live stream, YouTube, YouTube, One Shot, One Kill, the Street 919 FM live stream. Bruce, I won't forget again. How are you this morning, Bruce?
Good as usual.
How is the family?
They're doing nice, man.
That's good to hear. Never a dull moment, but life goes on. Let me say good morning to my intro boss, Bunji Garling, his wife Fian, and his beautiful daughter this morning. Every time I come in the studio and I listen to that song, I fall in love with it more and more every day. Bunji is the lyrical master. In addition to that, I have an additional respect for Bunji Garling because I've watched his career, and as well, in addition, I've watched his mannerism and his approach to life, his ambition, and his respect for the family foundation. So Bunji has a renewed, or not a renewed, but an additional respect from me, because unlike persons like himself, fame, he has not gotten carried away or misled by fame. You know, he fell in love with Fair and Lions, and he did the manly thing. He got married. They have a beautiful daughter, raising a beautiful black family, just like Dr. Keith Rowley. I'm extremely proud of Bunji Garling, not just in his music, but his life in general. Big up to you this morning, Bunji Garling.
Like to hide in the dark to let the lips speak. Liquid supplement for them bird with a twisted and a chip beak. Hey, hey, find the waters high. Hey, hey, hey. Well, every time I show up, everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rag and the flag, them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up.
The time is 8:18 a.m. And this morning we will be discussing the Venezuelan influx, so to speak. Yesterday being one of the days when sensationalism took precedence with respect to the discovery of some Venezuelans in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, we are a people, we talk a lot, regardless if we have facts or not. As a matter of fact, we talk more when we do not have the facts than when we have the facts. So this morning we're going to discuss the Venezuelan issue. So I'm going to read for you this morning some newspaper clippings, and we're going to take it in intervals because it's a lot, and we have 2 hours this morning to work with. But before I do, let me mention to you this morning briefly that, and of course, you know, the Street 919 FM is always up to date where current affairs is concerned. So this would not be a new reporting per se, because I believe it was mentioned ad nauseum, so to speak, on the evening drive with Google and Dominic, Dean Francois. And it is with respect to the UNC Corporation Chairman arrested in corruption probe. Whether he was charged, it is uncertain at this point, but latest news revealed that he was detained and spent the night in a prison cell, in the police prison cell, I believe. So there you have it. As far as current affairs is concerned, Glenn Rama, the chairman of the Mayaro Rio Claro Regional Corporation, has been arrested by police. And aside, folks, corruption is nothing new to that corporation, in that one Sumia Singh, I believe, and I stand to be corrected, but vividly I am recalling that under the UNC there were issues of corruption at that corporation, and I think once Sumia Singh had lost his life. And if I recalled again, in hindsight, that one Dhanraj Singh, a sitting government minister, was arrested and charged in relation to, he was the former local government minister, and you know the corporation would have purview under the corporations. So he would have been charged for some kind of corruption allegations. He subsequently, I think, and I can research it for tomorrow, but I think he would have spent some time in prison, but when he came out, he subsequently passed away. And, you know, so it's nothing new with that corporation. And, of course, if my memory serves me well, I believe the issue involving Franklin Khan and Eric Williams came out from that corporation as well. But I stand to be corrected. Those of you who are on the outside and have a better memory than I do, you can call in and you can correct me. But I think that the issue with Franklin and they came out of that corporation as well, from one councillor called Dansan Dansuk. So that's a corporation to watch. Folks, with that being said, it's 8:23 a.m. Let me get into the matter at hand. This morning we are reading from the Express newspaper, and it's a story by Suzanne Muhammad. 91 found in forest camp. Dozens of Venezuelans discovered hiding in Palo Seco. 91 Venezuelan migrants were found hiding out in Palo Seco yesterday afternoon. They had arrived by boats that came ashore along the south coast and were camping near Beach Road when officers of the Santa Flora CID and Emergency Response Unit found them. Footage posted on social media showed the arrivals, mainly men, lined up along the beach under the watchful eyes of police officers. Police, in a statement later yesterday, confirmed that 91 people suspected to be Venezuelan nationals residing in the country illegally were held by officers of the Southwestern Division. While carrying out emergency response patrol at 1 p.m. yesterday in Palo Seco district, PCs Matura and Mohammed received information of an illegal camp with immigrants along Beach Road. The officers called for backup from the Santa Flora police station and proceeded to National Trace Beach Road, where they discovered the camp in a forested area occupied by 62 men, 19 women, and 10 children. The officers, assisted by leading Seaman Hines of the Coast Guard, quickly took control of the situation and secured the foreign nationals, the police statement said. The detainees were processed at the Erin police station and later transported to Separia police station for further processing by the Immigration Division. There has been an influx of Venezuelans into Trinidad since Minister of National Security Stuart Young urged them to legally register, where they can be issued identification cards and allowed to work for 1 year. The registration process will be held between May 31st and June 14th. Last month, a vessel with 38 passengers overturned east of the uninhabited Los Patos Island near Dragon's Mouth between Trinidad and Venezuela. 9 people were pulled from the water alive. The body of a 16-year-old girl was discovered the following day. A second Venezuelan migrant boat traveling from Guarria to Trinidad was reported missing at the weekend. It is reported to have overturned near Dragon's Mouth, the same location where the first vessel went down last month, although the TNT Coast Guard has not found evidence the vessel sank. Ongoing exercise. In a statement yesterday, the National Security Minister said border security exercises have been ongoing by the arms of the ministry, including the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, utilizing a multi-agency approach. These exercises are intelligence-driven, the ministry said. Pleasant morning to you.
I would like to talk to Clint.
Clint? Sorry, wrong number.
Okay, darling.
You're most welcome. I wonder if that is Clint Huggins. Anyway, folks, there you have it for the issue involving the Venezuelans that were discovered hiding out in Palo Seco last evening, I believe. Continuing, Amnesty plan details needed now. And this is Guardian newspaper, opinion page. Incidents in recent days suggest National Security Minister Stuart Young needs to go public with full details of government's plan to execute its 1-year amnesty program for Venezuelan nationals currently residing here legally and illegally. This is because yesterday's detention and release of 105 Venezuelans in South Trinidad has caused panic both among Trinidadian nationals and Venezuelans here seeking a better life. By the Immigration Division's own admission, the Venezuelans detained yesterday were documented, given permission to stay until July, and released because they had simply nowhere to keep them. It is possible that these migrants would have made their way to Trinidad and Tobago in recent days as hundreds of Venezuelans continue to flee the socio-economic turmoil in their country before the start of May 31st to June 14 amnesty process here. In detailing the plan last month, Minister Young said registration would take place in Port of Spain, San Fernando, Cedros Arima, and Scarborough between the hours of 7 and 5 p.m. and will be supervised by the ministry. Venezuelans housed at the Immigration Detention Center will also be allowed to register. Venezuelans must provide proof of their nationality, be fingerprinted, photographed, undertake a medical examination, give their local address and contact numbers before they get registration cards, which will allow them to work for a year. The ministry will conduct intelligence searches with Interpol and other Venezuelan agencies to ensure the information provided by the applicants is accurate within the program's first 6 months and deport those found to have serious criminal records and lied about this or who commit such acts while here under the program. But recent reports suggest Minister Young may have underestimated this undertaking. Even before yesterday, there were reports of scores of Venezuelans already here, either forced into criminal activity or willingly committing these acts. Many others will continue to make their way here, but there is no guarantee that all them, well, that's how it is written. No guarantee that all them will register in the program over fear it may also be part of a ploy to eventually deport them thereafter. So, the question which arises now is how will TNT cater to the extra burden after the registration process? When Minister Young addressed the matter last month, he said registered Venezuelans will be entitled to free limited public health care, $15 minimum wage, and would pay taxes on salaries exceeding $6,000. What he is yet to say, however, is whether government will put a cap on the numbers of Venezuelans being registered, how they will be monitored once they are in the system, and how government will cater to the extra burden put on social services and other amenities, which by the end of yesterday will also have to factor in housing. Either way, with the registration period fast approaching, Minister Young must come forward now to explain how this program, expected to cost an initial $5 million, will be successfully implemented and of its repercussions for all citizens. So there you have it, folks. Two stories with respect to the influx of Venezuelans in Trinidad and Tobago. Since a couple of months ago, there has been an impasse between the United States government and the Nicolas Maduro government, in that the U.S., through its President Donald Trump, would have appointed opposition leader Juan Guaido to be the president, the interim president of Venezuela, on the grounds that the Maduro government is a legitimate government. And so, from that impasse, we in this country are now feeling the repercussions. Let me say before I open up the lines, because the lines are lit, let me say I forgot to say my daily word. So before I open the lines, let me quickly say thank you, Father, for bringing me here this morning safely, for bringing Bruce and all the members of staff here safely this morning. Father, Lord Jesus, I thank you for the sunrise this morning, and that regardless of what, and there has been many challenges in my life, that you have always had my back, and for that I'm extremely grateful. For that, I can serve no other person but you, and I lift no other person on high this morning and any other morning as long as I have breath. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Folks, the lines are open. The numbers to call 718-874-3860. That's the international line. Other numbers 342-0081, 771-1791, 466-5391. And don't forget, if you want to see my beautiful black complexion, my beautiful black face, you can always tune in YouTube, One Shot, One Kill, the Street 919 FM live stream. Caller, good morning.
Morning to you, darling.
Good morning, Mano.
Good morning, friend Tobago. Well, you see, initially, I don't even remember all the Trinidadians was going to Venezuela. Most of them, anything they do, anything they miss. I don't know if it's them chain or the grandson or the great grandson going back. No. I mean, but we had to let them follow the fund and play that under push. When we didn't have the money, was going all about the place. When we started to get money, people started to come here. And just now everybody want to go to Guyana now, you know, Guyana getting oil and things. So I sympathize with some of the cook on them, send them back. Leave most of the women though are gone.
Well, I have tried as best as I may to avoid discussing the influx of Venezuelans into Trinidad because it's an issue for me. This is my opinion. It's an issue that could cause enemy between you and friends. Let me take this call. Good morning.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning, dear.
Here the kind of idiocy we deal with, the worldly woman. You know? Do they understand the impact of this? Huh? Where's Dr. Rowley in this? I'm only hearing Stuart Young. Who's running this country? Huh? I'm only hearing Stuart Young. You know, Dr. Rowley promised that there will be no refugee camps. Look what Ramadan Singh is doing. That's a refugee camp. Have a good morning.
Same to you. As I was saying, and callers, I'm seeing the lines, eh? But let me just briefly say this. Now, I heard a gentleman, the last caller, and I also heard Mano. And where I thought Mano was going with this, he went in a different direction. But he raised a very fundamental point with regards to Trinidadians going to Venezuela, Margarita, Caracas, what have you. That is a factor we need to factor into this whole discussion. But as I was telling you, I was avoiding the discussion because I am listening to people on the streets, I'm listening to friends, and I have a totally different perspective on the issue, and as well, I want to give myself some time to understand the intricacies of the issue before I become emotional and sensationalize the issue. It's a very serious issue, and it's really unfortunate. This is my opinion. It's really unfortunate that we as a people can be so insensitive and lack compassion for what is happening to the people in Venezuela, and they coming here. And it reminds me of a situation where in some one of the Caribbean countries, I think it was, and I think even under Dr. Rowley, but I was referring to under Manning, where there was some either a storm or some issue that ravaged the island. And people of this country felt that our government should not have assisted financially. You know, and I ask myself sometimes, do people know what it is to face a crisis that the people in Venezuela are facing right now? And probably it's because they really believe that God is a Trinity. And hence, Trinidad and Tobago is immune from a disaster or a crisis. But as one caller would have said, I don't know if it was on this frequency or another one, but perhaps Trinidad and Tobago need its back to be against a wall. Because not just with the Venezuela crisis, but generally speaking, We are a happy people in this country. Nothing seems to bother us. We take nothing for serious. Because look at the situation here. What's the difference between the corruption that is taking place in this country and the influx of Venezuelans coming here? It's no different as far as I'm concerned. And with that situation, you have people telling you in this country, they prefer a government that is corrupt, but they are giving those on the ground, or us on the ground, a little something out of the corruption, than a government who is prepared and who has the political will to manage the economy, make sure that there are not many job losses, that there are not wastage and corruption, so that we will have a secured future. They prefer a corrupt prime minister and a cabinet as long as we are going to benefit from it. And those are the same people who are telling you that they have a problem with Venezuelans coming here. Good morning, caller.
Good morning to Trinidad Tobago.
Good morning,
Good morning to everybody. And good morning. I really have a problem with them Venezuelans. And I'm disappointed real bad. And I only realized that people before the Venezuela because they fear skin. When Haitians want to come here and they had another part of the Caribbean, everybody said they're too black to come here. Everybody didn't want them to come here. But now everybody wants the Venezuelans and them to come here. The crisis could be black people, you know. The crisis in this land, maybe not now, maybe 25 years from now, maybe whenever, but the crisis could be on the black people in Trinidad and Tobago. And black people better wake up. They better wake up and smell the coffee. Because if them Venezuelans, everybody want to come here, everybody have a fight for them. Come on, all your people. Come on, black people. Wake up, black people. You see them Venezuelans that come here. I was disappointed with them. And I disappointed with the PNM government for bringing them Venezuelans and them here. I'm telling you, I be fear. I'm going.
Thank you. The issue, no doubt, is a contentious issue. And that's what I said this morning. I try to avoid discussing that issue because it's an issue that will bring enemies between friends. So I'll listen to some of the callers and I will have my say as we go along. Good morning.
Juliet.
Yes.
Good morning. It is indeed a contentious issue. Now, listen to me well and hear my point of view. I may not be as blunt as Melba, but I am saying there is a limit to everything. I am not in disagreement with the government stretching a hand. What I thought was bad was Stuart Young announced it too early. If he had intended to do that, he should have put things in place and then say, I'm starting that if that is a week, and by the end of the week, all Venezuelans come forward and register. But it's a month and 2 weeks you give them. So we don't have the capacity to absorb the amount. Remember, Venezuela has over 32 million people. If everybody chooses to come here, Trinidad will sink. We don't have the wherewithal in terms of housing, schools. We're talking about infrastructure. Look at where they come and where they from, those people, where they urinating, where they defecating, where they bathing. They came here, remember, since a long time I was talking about the issue I had with Venezuelans coming really back to is with the malaria. Bam, this thing happened and we come down with malaria in this country. So we have to think far, and if we let them swarm here in that kind of majority, then as again I'm saying, we have to look at it in terms of us, because they don't. Let me tell you what happened to Juliet. I'm giving you a quick example. I have a friend that went into hospital Easter weekend, and you know what she told me? One of them was admitted to the hospital with some severe pain. She don't know if it's heart or whatever. But you know the family had time come, they go home and come back. They find the sheet on the bed wasn't clean, the pillowcase wasn't clean. They bring everything, they change up all that. So they come ready, they start to scorn the place. I call it scorning. I don't know how people look at it. Maybe I might have found it dirty myself, but you're in our country, and the amount of them coming at every set of Venezuelans they find, they are finding drugs and guns, especially the guns. We will be swamped, and I'm saying we could only support a certain number. And I'm thinking that the deadline Stuart Young gave them was too long, because I heard Yasina Gonzalez or somebody, I think is or a reporter, I read it at the table that she say, oh, people getting on so bad, but the minister say they come and they're gonna give them a year, and they could work for a year. The minister didn't say come. He said, so they're spreading the wrong message across to the people. The minister said, whole year they would give them that authority. But no, they want to come by the boatloads now. We have to put a stop to it. Thank you.
You're most welcome, Zina. Good morning.
Hi, morning, Juliet.
Morning.
Again, I will say from time and time again, I don't agree with what the government is doing with these Venezuelans, right? Because everybody talking this, that, the other, but I keep saying when the 50 or 60 something thousand that is here already, start to multiply. Remember, we have 1.3 million. They are 33 million. When the family, the friends start to come in, it will be bad for us, believe it or not. And people not looking at the wider picture. All they're doing, they're feeling sorry for those people to come into here to help them out. But look at the bigger picture later on. Have a good day.
Same to you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Julia.
Morning.
You know, since yesterday, this situation was hurting me, because when I pass in Port of Spain and I see all these vagrants, some of them want help. Some of them, you know, and nobody is taking on these people. You know, who born right here and grow right here. And nobody in studying these people were suffering out there. You understand? To take them and help them in that kind of way. But we have heart and pity and want to cry and curse one another for people from far across the sea. Every year is 400 and something Africans dying. Every year, most of, if you check for if it's 400 for the year, 390 is Africans. This is how I just watch it. So when all these people come over here and they're just taking African space, and I want Africans to remember, we have to stop killing out each other.
They're taking our space?
Excuse me?
They're taking our space?
No, the African people race is getting less.
And the Venezuelans causing that?
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not saying, no,
okay.
no. What I'm trying to say is our race is getting less already, right? And these people coming over here, and plus our race is the race where, if let me say a Venezuelan and an African go to the police station to make a report, right? We always just be the ones that the police seems to don't believe in. People that seem to don't believe the black race. You understand? They like colors. You understand? Right? So what I am saying is, I find they should stop or lessen down on all these set of Venezuelans coming here, because to me, they're just coming to take over Africa, and them ones were dying there. They come into and our race will be less in this country, and everybody else's race will be plentiful. You know, right? One more thing before I go. I am very disappointed with the media, because I find every time I put on my TV, I'm supposed to see these two jailers what they're looking for, right? And I don't see that. I'd like to stop show the prisoners now will escape, right? When I look at Alexander program, he waiting quite down to the wanted list to put the prisoners there when that's supposed to be up. and go in. So I would like to know, I would like to ask this question this morning. These two prisoners, what is missing here? Would they are even making bargains with the government and all, and they hiding? They're the first time I ever see that since I live in, that prisoners break out jail and trying to make bargain over social media with the government. And up to this day, they can't find them. I supposed to be seeing helicopters still in the air. I supposed to be seeing police all over the place still. You realize, I don't know if people realize that this situation has died down. We have our commissioner, life at risk. He and all supposed to be having these police working non-stop 24/7. We have the prime minister and all life at risk. And we just have two prisoners. We break out of jail. We're sending over social media to bargain with the government and saying that them is not there's not killers or whatever it is, but we don't know who harboring these people to send them to hit who. Have a blessed morning.
Thank you. Folks, the time 8:51 a.m. and we are close to the top of the hour. Hold on, caller, hold on. We are close to the top of the hour. But before we go to the top of the hour, the ads and what have you, I want to leave you with this question. Because to me, the issue of the influx of Venezuelans...
I will be short.
Go ahead.
Yes, what I'm saying is, I would like the lady to know, we do not have a humanitarian problem in Africa. I mean, I'm African, yes. And this is what causes these people to come here. we can't think about it.
Miss, I was not going to say that.
I am from South. Let me tell you something. I am from South. Let me tell you something. We've seen Venezuela from South. And you can't think that. I mean, Church already, he really said it too early, yes. But he cannot say these things. You understand? We are too close to these people. And if that was happening to Trinidad, then he was going to like them to have us too.
Thank you. The caller
took... I wanted to remember was Grenada, eh?
Okay.
I wanted to remember, yes.
All right, thank you. The caller took the words out of my mouth. She indeed took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to tell you, or to ask you, based on the comments, because it's not a matter of sensationalism and emotions as far as I'm concerned. It's an issue of reality. The reality of what is happening in Venezuela. Those people are, how to put it, they are under siege. They are refugees. And what does someone do in a situation like that? What does a government, that's the question I want to ask. What does a government do in a situation like that? And shouldn't Trinidad and Tobago and the government help? Now, if we have a sensible discourse on the matter, rather than going down the road of who black and how much children go get lighter and how much women go lose the man, to me that's not the issue. The issue is, what can a government do in a situation? Should they just turn a blind eye and not help? That to me is the bigger question. And if it is that the government has no choice but to assist, to me, we should be looking at control, monitoring, managing. The issue to me is not about how many Nigerians came here compared to how many Venezuelans, who got more assistance and who didn't get more assistance, because the issues are not the same. So as we go to the top of the hour, I ask you to ponder on those issues, and we will discuss it when we get back. Up next, the news. So keep it locked to the street, 919 FM. We talk. Come talk with us.
Come talk with us on the street.
919 FM.
The Gospel of the Kingdom radio program with Gilbert James is now on the street at 919 FM every second and fourth Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. and every first and third Sunday from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. Monday. The Bible says the Gospel of the Kingdom shall be preached in all the world as a witness to all nations, and then the end shall come. For more info, call 652-0924 or 298-4540 and join us every second and fourth Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. and every first and third Sunday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. Monday for the Gospel of the Kingdom radio program with Gilbert James.
We are family. Bruce Wayne and the Sexy Flex come together again for the return of Love 3. Together as one. On Saturday, 1st of June at the Police Mess Long Circular Road in St. James. It's all about love. Together as one with DJs Kabuki, Howie T, and your favorite Bruce Wayne. Get your tickets now, single $80, coupled $150, at the door $100. Tickets available in Mova, at Casey Cool, Faouk Barbershop, and Mommy Sauce. In Caranage, at Ford's Bar and Aldrin by the Savannah. Also at the Police Mess, Long Circular Road, and the Streets, 919 FM, Maraval Road. Or call Sexy Flex and Bruce Wayne at 340-2016 or 388-2271. Saturday, June 1st, the return of Love 3. Together as one. It's a love thing.
Girl, you know the Valencia pull we made last week wasn't that bad? Apart from the little traffic here and there, and that double stop at O'Meara, and the pork we had in Valencia, relish.
I am not surprised you will only remember your belly. Well, what stood out for me was the number of housing projects on that stretch. Like, I never knew the HDC was building so many new developments. We saw like how many? Like about 8 just on that stretch alone.
That's true, you know. Like that one in Mount Hope, that HDC say is a public-private partnership. And remember those real nice houses in Carina Gardens, in Arima and Bonnier Park? I could see myself in one of those. The HDC is constructing 3,700 houses at 23 housing sites across Trinidad. The HDC, building homes, strengthening communities. Where are Ronald and Sally headed off to next?
Simpsons Memorial Limited, number 63 Eastern Main Road, Laventille. Internationally accredited funeral directors and embalmers. A full-service funeral home serving families of Trinidad and Tobago and internationally since 1945. At Simpsons Memorial Limited, we serve with dignity in assisting families in honoring the memory of their loved ones. Our services include professional funeral and pre-planning, burials and cremation, custom-built and imported caskets, coffins and cremation trays, cemetery management, limousines, mourners cars, grief counseling, web streaming of funerals, fully air-conditioned chapel with live musical accompaniment, full global shipping and receiving of loved ones. We specialize in facial restorations. Call us anytime, day or night, at 623-8688. That number again is 623-8688. Simpsons Memorial Limited. Superior service, always with excellence.
Take me to the king. I don't have much to bring.
When it comes to healthcare, you deserve the best. Health and Wealth Lifestyle with Nicole Huggins, Empress Judy and Associates provide the best assessment services and nutritional supplements you need. Health and Wealth Lifestyle can help you to live your life to the fullest. Where your health is concerned, we encourage you to make healthy lifestyle changes. Come on down to Health and Wealth Lifestyle and have your blood and body analysis done. Experience our amazing ionic foot detox, which is followed by a soothing foot massage. Located at number 254 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Numbers to call 1-868-288-1108 or 1-868-275-8359. Join us on the street 909 FM every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. where we bring you information and education all about your health. Remember, your health is your wealth, and prevention is always better than medication.
The Return of Love 3, Together as One, June 1st. It's a love thing.
birthday party, me dey inna the corner. Me have a drink inna me left and on me right and have a. And when the bassline drop inna the rhythm, I feel wind up on a dance. Me just a wine to the rhythm and later you know what coming after. I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I can only live my life one way. All I wanna do every day is I just wanna smoke, drink, and love my girl to some reggae. I call her on the phone, tell her I'm coming up, so get ready. I got some a bottle of booze. All I wanna do is smoke, drink, and love my girl to some reggae.
We know the street because we talk to the street.
Come talk with us on the Street 919 FM.
News from the street, 919fm.com. Here's what's happening.
Good morning. It's time for the news headlines at 9 a.m. on the street, 919 FM. I am Jason Shields. The Chief Justice is to be cross-examined in the Marcia Ayres Caesar case. 91 Venezuelans found hiding in Santa Flora camp, and in news overseas, 3 people die as tornado hits the U.S. state of Missouri. Stay tuned for those stories in 1 hour's time, right here on the street, 919 FM. I am Jason Shields. Have a good morning.
News from the street. News from the street. 919fm.com. Broadcasting from Trinidad to the world. The street 919fm.com.
The Street 919 FM has been asked to announce the passing of Mary Imelda McSween, also known as Melda, who departed this life at the age of 85 on Friday, 17th May 2019 at the Helena Charles Home of Senior Citizens, Pier Road in LeBray. She will lovingly be remembered as the daughter of the late Victoria Ann Harris McSween, mother of Stephen, who is deceased, Anthony and Ted McSween, grandmother of Candace and Steveland McSween, great-grandmother of Jeremy and Janae Buckley, sister of Francis and Martin of Grenada, aunt of Margaret, Christine, and others, in-law of Sonia McSween and Joanne Richardson, relative of the McSweens and Pear families, friend of Kathleen Ojo, Miss Homer, and the residents of the Helena Charles Home of Senior Citizens in LeBray. The funeral service and cremation for the late Mary Imelda McSween, also known as Melda, will take place on Saturday, 25th May 2019 at 9:30 a.m. at the J.E. Guide Funeral Home and Crematorium, 120 Coffee Street, San Fernando. Inquiries can be made at the Elite Funeral Home, 648-3462.
Issues in society.
If we could only get, as I've said repeatedly, the sort of attitude that the population as a whole has to the entire carnival celebrations, if we could have that throughout the year, Trinidad and Tobago would be the richest country in the world.
The official station that defends the nation. The Street 91 FM.
Hep square. Like to hide in the dark to let the lips speak. Liquid supplement for them bird with a twisted and a chip beak. Hey, ha. them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. When we arrive, bad minds start throw up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rocks and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All of the rock and the flag them boom. I defy the odds, just like the Crips just defy the Bloods. Like how the wind scream defy the bugs. Like how the tall boats defy the mud. Yeah, them try stop me flows.
Okay, folks, we are back on the inside, and I'm going to go right back at the topic because it's already 9:07. I have another article to read, but before I read it, I want to say to people on the outside, folks, I consider myself as someone who is maturing, and that being the case, and notwithstanding the position that I sit in here, is one in which requires me to have a lot of responsibility for the information that is being imparted out there to listeners. And I don't want to sit here and be a rabble-rouser. The issue of the Venezuelan influx is a very serious national issue, and as far as I am concerned, my responsibility is to ensure that the discourse does not go down the road of sensationalism, misinformation, and what have you, but a discourse that would bring some sobriety into the discussion. Of course, it's a touchy situation, and folks may feel a particular way, but at the end of the day, as far as I am concerned, not just for myself, but for the responsibility and the role that I play sitting behind this mic, I think I have to be a cut above the rest. This is not rum shop logic and rum shop discourse, but a discourse that will educate and inform and properly advised, if the case may be, the government. That being the case, let me go into the article, The Shoe on the Other Foot, by political analyst and retired UWI lecturer Winford James. Venezuela weighs heavily on my mind these days. The country is in a dreadful political and economic mess, which is best cleaned up by the Venezuelans themselves. But I find myself powerless to help in any meaningful way. Nicolas Maduro, the incumbent president, is being besieged by the Juan Guaido-led opposition, the Trump administration, and their economic sanctions and threats of military intervention, and most of Europe and Latin America. Thousands of Venezuelans have fled the country, especially to nearby countries, trying to escape from hunger and hopelessness. And many of them, too many at the risk of life and limb, have come and keep coming to Trinidad and Tobago in search of better jobs, better security, and better life overall. Under the onslaught of Venezuelan migration, our country is a tiny space with infrastructure that is straining to properly support our citizens, and it is only a matter of time before we are overrun by the hordes of desperate Venezuelans if we do not defend our borders. So what can I do in the face of this desperation? What can you do? What can the government do? At the personal level, I have been able to provide sporadic employment to a Venezuelan who has assisted in pruning the first girl's flower garden, cleaning the flower pots, painting the gates, and the perimeter fencing. And I have persuaded myself that I have paid him better than those who recommended him to me. He gets paid an amount that he readily agreed to, and the first girl offers him a meal when she cooks. But I worry about the potential for exploitation on my part and the part of other employers in the relationship that is developing. What is your experience? Have you helped any migrant Venezuelan in similar ways? For its part, the government has quite wisely, I think, taken an approach of non-intervention, non-interference, and it is awaiting to help in any way that is in keeping with that approach. It is also conducting a consensus of Venezuelans in the country too, among other things, regularize their status and give them legal access to certain government services. But if Venezuelans keep coming, the vast majority of them illegal. Many of them are moving in the underground, taking menial jobs, remitting or periodically taking back modest sums of their loved ones back home, committing robberies and burglaries, and engaging in or being forced into prostitution and human trafficking. And now more and more of them prefer to risk their lives in overcrowded and unsafe boats to make the crossing to Trinidad over staying in Venezuela. The decision to come in the face of such perils cannot be an easy one. They are uprooting themselves from their families and their communities and their ways of life to face grim uncertainties in a tiny neighboring country whose incapacity, their desperation prevents them from seeing. They face the hurdles of learning two languages, Standard English and Creole English, and dozens of them are losing their lives or else are missing in that perilous journey. It is a monumental decision. I cannot even ask myself whether I would undertake the trip if I were a Venezuelan, because I am sure that I still do not appreciate what it means to be a Venezuelan in the 2019 Venezuela of Maduro and Guaido. Indeed, what it meant even before that. I asked the first girl, who I hope would concede that she hasn't exactly had an uncomfortable life since we tethered ourselves to each other, what she would do if the shoe was on the other foot. She did not hesitate. Nah, not me. I staying right here and taking my licks. I share her sentiments. Nah, leaving. We go back to Tobago and plant peas and corn and dashing and cassava. We go wash clothes and bathe in Lamy River and Big River. We will go walk to Old Grange Bay and back. We go get land, we go get lend hand and build house. We go give extra lessons and sew clothes for people at discounted prices. We go eat mango and other fruits until we belly bust. We go live on pittance of a pension, and we go come down Trinidad by boat rather than by plane. Good morning, the lines are open. Good morning. Lost that call. So folks, that was Winford James asking the question, what would you do if the shoe was on the other foot? Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I understand all that, yeah. I listen to everything clearly, I understand, but at the other, sorry. The fact remains that we have limited resources. We have a limited island, and the influx eventually we will be.
Caller, what should the government do in a situation like this? Let us have a rational discourse, not an emotional discourse. What should the government do?
I am not emotional. I am not.
Okay, fine. So what should the government do?
Government, in my humble opinion, the government should more or less control it. Right now, it's a runaway train. It should control it. And I agree with certain callers. He should not. He should not wait and say 6 weeks. You get and say, well, all right, next month I want this one. So you have people in Venezuela telling their friend and family, come over. It's okay.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. Good morning, caller. What is your issue? Should the government help or shouldn't the government help?
Miss Davies, just can I answer something before I get a reply?
Go ahead, no problem.
While the fears that we have in Trinidad is understandable, we have to be realistic with the situation. because a situation exists in Venezuela that we are not accustomed to. If we were living closer to Haiti, we would have been having this situation happening for years and years and years. But this is something new, and we are closer to Venezuela than Tobago. So it is logical to expect that they will be coming in a situation. But they're also going to Colombia, who is close on their border. They're also going to Brazil, and countries that are Spanish-speaking, which will be easier for them. What has to happen, we cannot not assist, because we are signed on to the UN to treat with situations like these. We are not a refugee country, which is different. We'll have to set up tents and all that. But with regards to this situation, we are signed on to humanitarian rights. When the situation happened in Dominica and those other countries, and Dr. Rowley would have suggested, any Dominicans who want to come here, once they have family or friends, they are willing to take them in. They could come for a short period. And people in this country carried on like if they were to come, what will happen, and they will take this and that, and they didn't come. No, Venezuela is closer to us. If a situation happens, it's obvious they will come here, but it's not the whole of Venezuela going to be coming here, because it's not only here alone they're coming. I understand the fear, and I understand there must be some type of guidelines, there must be some limits and all that. However, whether we want it or not, they're going to be coming in droves because they're running from something, and we are closer to them.
Naturally.
So we need to get over the panic. I too sometimes feel a kind of, oh my God, what is happening, what happened? But I have to be realistic with it. Because God forbid anything happened to us in Trinidad in the morning. Running right there where we could find our shelter, Grenada, anywhere we going. And we would not like people in those countries to be carrying on the way we're carrying on now. Again, I say I understand the fear is realistic. However, we have to be logical when this fear and this emotion died on. How do we treat it? The government would have said they're going to do X, Y, Z. They must have to register these persons and must give some guideline what they have to do. It is understandable also people should realize that it was coming here even before the situation that existed in Venezuela, because it's closer for them to come. I myself went to down Cedros down there where the Coast Guards have the station there. And we were interlacing with them. And I stand up and watch them people walking across the right in Venezuela. They're coming across on a little boat with goat and animals. So that has been happening. But just the situation has magnified it. But we need to get rid of the fear and let us sit down and have a reasonable and logical conversation on how we're going to treat it. Because it is happening. Whether we like it or we want it or not, it is happening. It's a reality. So we need to logically look at it. Forget the fear for now and come up with suggestions. If you do not like what the PNM has suggested or Sotio has suggested, let us come up with something logical. Are we all going to stand up and form arms around the border of Trinidad and Tobago, all of our citizens, so when they come, we run them back? What are we going to do? Well, you can't just say they're coming and they're flooding on the place and they're taking up all the spaces and the healthcare and all that. I hear that. But how do we treat with it at the end of the day? Because whether we like it or not, they're going to come. Because a situation exists across there where most of them are running to seek living elsewhere that is a better. And I'm sure if things settle back down in Venezuela, most of these people want to go back in the country. Right? So we need to be very logical. But I understand the fear mistake.
Thank you. I as well understand the fear. But I want to applaud you this morning for a beautiful contribution, because as you rightfully said, the government is a signatory to the United Nations humanitarian rights, and this is a humanitarian issue. Let me take the international line. Good morning, caller.
Julia, the caller failed to realize that Trinidad is a small country, not like Brazil and Colombia. These places are 1,000 times bigger than Trinidad. What help can we help? You know, the best thing the government can do now is shut down this program, you know, to prevent others from coming in to think that they can get whatever they're trying to get. You know, and then we started in a different way. We got to shut down this program. You know,
Thank you.
This is tells what's going to happen to Trinidad, and look what's going to happen in the next coming days. You will see.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller. Let me tell you something. The government cannot not help. First and foremost, the issue here, in my view, as I said before we went to the break, is control and management. Are we prepared as a people to discuss that, or are we just about rabble-rousing and about sensationalism? There has to be control. And I agree with those persons who said that probably Stuart Young announced it too early and that there should be a cutoff with respect to persons coming here, that there should be greater protection at the borders to manage the whole situation and what have you. But to speak in a manner that they have no right coming here is really, leaves me aghast that as a people we are so insensitive. Come on. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Juliet. I agree that we must have control and registering these people, because we don't know who are what you call criminals. They're bringing in all their armor and all their dirty behavior, the corrupt behavior. They bring in all that here. So amongst those good persons who seek it, also the criminals coming here. But my thing is, I want us, where this problem lies or stems from, you see that the Americans who have put sanctions on Venezuela and have made the situation problematic. We should be in front of that American embassy, telling them that their policies are hurting us. We are a small country, small Twin Island state, and we don't have the capacity to deal with the influx of Venezuelans here.
Beautiful contribution.
We are our brother's keeper. As good people, we would like to help them, but we don't have the capacity, right? And the wherewithal to assist them. And America, you are hurting the people, and you're also hurting us, right? And we should let our voices be heard in front of that American embassy for them to pull back and to do something to help the people. Thank you.
You're most welcome, Carol. Let me remind people that in the opinion article in the Guardian newspaper, it was said, in detaining the plan last month, Minister Young said registration would take place in Port of Spain, San Fernando, Cedras, Arima, and Scarborough between the hours of 7 and 5 p.m. and will be supervised by the ministry. Venezuelans housed at the Immigration Detention Center will also be allowed to register. Venezuelans must provide proof of their nationality, be fingerprinted, photographed, undertake a medical examination, give their local address and contact numbers before they get registration cards, which will allow them to work for a year. So, based on that, we know and we understand that some degree of management is taking place by the government, and we must commend the government, because with the influx of the Venezuelans, it could have been worse than this, but there is some degree of management that is taking place, and I commend the government. Good morning.
Good morning, Julia. Julia,
yeah.
My first question is, right, under the 1951 Refugee Convention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Treaty, that this is a key legal document that formed the basic of our work, ratified by 145 state parties. It defined the term refugee and outlined the right of displaced as well as legal obligation of state to protect them. What I want to know is Trinidad and Tobago, one of these countries that is signed on to this document.
I want to believe so.
Right? And if they do so, Julia, they have to take in some of these people.
They must treat with it. They must treat with it.
They have to treat with it because I agree there should be a limitation. Control.
Management.
And do they hear what it said further in this document here, right? The core principle is non-fulfillment, which asserts that a refugee shall not be returned to a country where they face serious threat to their life or freedom. This is now considered a rule of customary international law. So Venezuela is in a crisis, and that's why the refugees are running. But we have to contain it a little bit, right, Julia?
I agree, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that people should have fears. Yes, people should have fears. But let us be realistic about the situation. Let us be realistic about the government being a signatory to humanitarian rights and treaties and what have you. We have to treat with it. We can say what we want. Thank you, caller.
All right.
Good morning.
I have not, the person who called said that I not understand it. I very well understand in this situation. Again, I'm saying, Trinidad and Tobago, on November the 2nd, became the 140th country to sign on to the refugee treaty, right? So, it's not something we can avoid. I understand the fear. I and all have fears, but there has to be a logical way to treat with it. And whether Mr. Stewart Young would have said it early or late, there was comment. What has to happen when they start the registration? It has to be put and done in such a way. Because remember, you have to train extra people now to help registration. You have to have people who can understand Spanish to treat it. You have to have the medical personnel there to check person to see who's sick, who whatever it is. A whole host of things has to happen. Money has to be released for that. So, and then the printing of this temporary card, all these things cost money and has to have a process, has to have personnel to do it. So they have to be training personnel. So when they start with this registration, and it is done in a very practical and professional way, if you're not registered, when you come, you're getting sent back.
Exactly. It said that clear. That was mentioned clearly.
Exactly, but they have to have time. They can't do it this thing in an ad hoc way. So they come today and you do something today, because then now you wouldn't be in line with the treaty that we sign on to. So they have to set up things properly, and they need a period in which to set up things properly. And in the meantime, they will keep coming. Don't matter what you do, the people need to understand.
And it's not Trinidad alone, eh? It is not Trinidad alone.
I am not saying that we're ready for it. I am not saying we're not a small country. Of course, we're a small country with 1-point-something million, and we can't take on a lot. But again, whether we want it or like it or not, they're going to fly here.
That's correct.
They'll come here. They will come in boat. They will swim. They will do what? We have to respond in a way that is within the humanitarian framework, taking into consideration the citizens of this country.
That's correct.
Right? And I heard somebody this morning talking about we have brigands on the road here, and it's now we have brigands on the road here, we do not say help them. That is not a logical conversation. The health system in this country always says the worst is the worst. How now we so concerned that they come in now to take over the health system and the health system? I understand the fear, but we have to be logical because it is here. It is here, and we have to find a logical way. Mr. Stewart Young and the government would have said they're going to do X, Y, Z. In the meantime, while they're setting up and putting things in place, the Venezuelans are coming. We have to not trust the system that they're going to put in place to treat it in a professional way. And if it does not work, well, then we will have to see how we're going to deal with that. But in the meantime, they come in, they come in. They are here. Have a blessed morning.
Same to you. International line, good morning. Lost that call. Good morning. Good morning. Lost that one as well. Caller, I absolutely agree with you. Good morning.
Good morning, Juliet.
Morning.
Oh, God, you wouldn't answer and taking you on at all. You know, I fighting somebody else trying to get in there too with me, you know.
The international line busy this morning.
It's busy, but you take a call from international.
Yes.
You
Well,
did?
I did Melba and I took the gentleman just now and the gentleman
okay.
before Melba.
Juliet, good morning to the world. Juliet, girl, I lie down here. And I am so worried about this thing. Not worried in the sense that worried about how people worrying. That's my problem. Juliet, I ran away from a bad relationship in 1981. And I went to America and I overstayed my time. I lived in America 8 years illegal. I couldn't come back here. I wanted to, but I couldn't come back to meet my death. And I suffer because they take advantage of you when you don't have your documents right. I'm just telling people that, let me tell you something, that when the government, when the president offered amnesty, Juliet, I was first on the line. A friend of mine who come with me, she said, you go in front, I come in behind in case the police are fast want to send us back. And I was so happy, Juliet, to hear me bawl and scream when I get through in the place. They thought I was a mad woman. You understand? And I know how some of these people feel. And I see that last woman that talked there, I could send her to the head of the class.
Mother
I've been talking, I hear Carol saying about go to the embassy, American, I don't want trouble here, you American embassy. Oh God, how we don't think, boy. Eh? Look how much illegal of us over there in America.
Mother Puna.
Yes?
I'm glad that you raised that because when Donald Trump would have made a statement about shithole countries, referring to Haiti and Caribbean nations, and he would have put his immigration plan in place to rid his country of Caribbean people. We all cried. We all cried and begged, and we all begged to stay in America. All the racism we see that America have.
You to say now and you're repeating yourself, go down by the embassy.
Wow.
Everybody dream is to go to America.
To go to America. All the racism that America has.
Some of what, somewhere you could be up, how much big shot family here. You have a relative outside there making a living. And they don't want to go trouble the American embassy.
And they didn't run from a crisis, eh?
Oh God,
these people
boy.
are coming here because of a crisis, eh?
Oh
we not running to go to America because of a crisis. Remember that?
Juliet, 8 years illegal.
As a matter of fact, we leave here and run to America to be in a crisis. A crisis in that we go there to clean people's toilet and to clean people's home and to live there secretly without the law recognizing us. Living there for years. Some of us still there.
That is what made me calling, you know, when I hear her talking about going to the embassy and let them know. Let them know what, Carol, man, you know, do better than that. You must do better than that. I can't tolerate that kind of nonsense because we have family illegal up there. Thank God I stayed in 8 years. I get through. And before I was 5 years with the green card,
some people
I went for my citizenship.
20, 25 years.
You understand? But here, Juliet, you know what make it nice? During these 8 years, I had gotten a social security number. I was working, I wasn't paying taxes. You understand? But I was paying taxes, yes. So when they called me in, I had the things in an order, even though I was illegal. I had a social security number, but I didn't have a green card. So if it's a structure, you and them do what it's supposed to do and do the thing right, everything will be all right.
I agree.
We have to be our brother's keeper, man. Oh, God, I'm very pain in me. Because I know people are going to like me to support. I support the government. They have to know what they're doing, Juliet.
They have to. They have no choice.
Yeah, thank you, Juliet.
You're most welcome. Good morning.
Juliet, I don't think that the majority of people not supporting the government. We are worried about the amount. And let us be real and
that's
be
what
sensible.
we said, and that is why we said there has to be control and there has to be management.
Right, but Juliet, do you think we really will have that measure of control? Because we are not such a developed country.
I agree.
And we don't have the infrastructure. Look how many people on a list for HDC housing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to encourage squatting.
This is the kind of sensible, Zina, this is the kind of sensible discourse
we don't want to encourage squatting. We don't want our health problems to
increase.
If you go to America, you can't go there illegally, you know.
Right.
If you go there, you will overstay.
Right.
But at least you're going either by a family or some friend. You know where you have to stay. These people start to come and squat in the bush.
Right.
And this is going to cause a problem if we don't have that control. And I will feel that when they do that registration, if you have a certain number, you have, whether we like it, whether it's sung bad, whether we sung evil, there must be a cutoff point. What if a million people want to come here and we have 1.3 million? What has happened, Juliet?
I agree.
Come on, man. What will happen to our economy and our everything? Housing, school, and what children here can't get into schools. So we have to be reasonable and sensible. We do not have the land space and the money like America. You understand me? So the UN will help, yes, and they will give them a certain amount of money to help. But could that help? Could it build houses overnight? Could it build a massive detention center? Because when these people come, just like when people go to America legally and they overstay their time, where they're finding them in the system after. Because you will give an address now and then by a year, you don't absorb, you pick up some man or woman, you're married, you have status now, you want to stay. I am saying you cannot just double your population overnight. So there must be control and it must have a cut-off.
Mm-hmm.
Because if after that time, people still want to come, will you go continue to let them come? We will end up with more than our population on us. It's 33 million Venezuelans. So we must have a cutoff point because we all will feel it in the end if that does not happen.
I totally agree, Zina.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Miss Davy.
Mm-hmm.
Why people talk about America like America is a treasure in the universe? You understand what I'm saying? You must make a suggestion. Go and let them go and tell them about the policy. So why we cannot do that? Why people dream is to go America and America? We dealing with Trinidad here now. We dealing with the interest of Trinidad. You understand? And whatever suggestion for the interest of Trinidad, I agree. You understand? So don't come and tell me about America and everybody dream is to go America and America. When we go in America, we just go with our passport and our visa. You understand? If you stay over time, the country will send me back. So what are you telling me about? You understand? You see the mentality of a Venezuelan is a different mentality of a Trinidadian. These people go to the lowest to get what they want, and they'll go to the highest to do the crime. You understand? They have a different mentality, a do-care mentality. You understand? That is number one. Number two, because it's a natural disaster happening in thing. It's thing what could dissolve. So why you pressuring Trinidad to resolve the problem?
They are?
They are? Because they are coming in. You understand? People saying Venezuelan getting work. What are they working for? $1? When they're supposed to be working for $5? Come on, man. It's a serious thing. This causing all problem in all different sectors. You understand? Because I go and I as a Trinidadian born here, go and look for good wages in our work. They tell me you can't get the work because there are two Venezuelans waiting to take $1. It's all different problems causing, say, all different sectors causing problems.
Okay, thank you.
All the studying is that we helping there. Nobody has say Give a hug, give a helping hand, but give it with a caution.
Okay, thank you very much.
My friend,
We
have
get
a
your
good day.
point. Same to you. Pleasant morning.
Juliet.
Yes.
You see that piece of garbage you don't talk it? That is garbage. That is the level of garbage. Some of them don't want no job, and the jobs that them Venezuelan come in and take care is what we don't want. So you see garbage you talking, all that to get up and look for work too. Don't blame nobody that all ain't getting job. Because them leaving white Venezuela under pressure. If we was under the same pressure that the Venezuelan were, we was running all over the place. You understand? Put yourself in them situation. I ain't saying it right, you know, we can accept all of them here. But we sign on to a treaty. You understand? And we had a abide by the treaty. The Prime Minister can come and say he's not helping. Under the treaty right, they will deal with them.
Thank you.
So you see the garbage you talking? Get up and get a job. How them come in here and get a job? And all they can't get a job. Because they want to work for $300 and $400 a day. And all they ain't skill enough to do that work. Have a blessed day.
Same to you. Good morning.
Morning again, Miss Julia. The lady will speak after Mother Tunapuna. She said it well. And next thing, we have to also remember the crisis what's going on in Cuba and these places too. Because look, right now they're over there and no food in the groceries over there in Cuba, you know. So still, according to you, control. Have a blessed morning.
But I agree with Zina as well that there are a number of things in this country taking place, for instance, crime, and it's hard to contain and control. So to what degree the issue of the influx of the Venezuelans would be controlled and managed? And that is something I think we should be asking the National Security Minister. Good morning, caller.
Juliet,
yeah.
You see the gentleman that called before this lady who just talked there?
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with what he said. You hear what I'm telling you? If you're not too comfortable, Juliet, in your space, and what you come for, you didn't meet the expectation, you're going to go back. You're going to go back. I just couldn't come back because of the relationship. I was actually seeking asylum. And we're talking about who America, who what is America. America is a whole lot of savior, Juliet. At some point in time or the other. At some point in time or the other, the people are coming in here. If they work for $1, it's all right because only not taking the dollar. All they want is strong people here for price. Old people are going to start the work in the house around the yard and they don't finish it. Juliet, I could talk like that. You give me a little cabinet in the kitchen to build. They take a deposit that they have you hung up and go on another job. When these people who come in here for survival, they will finish that what to do if you have any more to do. And they will clean your yard. You understand? So all the can't ball down because they don't have it. When we go to America, we take the American job. Americans just ball the same way. Send back them outsiders. They come here to take the job. But guess what, Julian? They have it and they want to use it. And when somebody come now, and you know what I say, another man, one man junk is another man's treasure. That is what I'm talking about.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning, Sister Julia.
Morning, Brother Sterling. How are you?
Giving thanks and praises for looking into my health and strength.
Yes, that's nice.
Yes, Sister Juliet, I'm listening in for the morning, and after down there watching in Irish News and I'm listening in, and I hearing everybody, and now we in a situation, big sister, because of the crisis in Venezuela right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the influx of Venezuelan in Trinidad and Tobago. But I wonder if these people remember that when Mr. Pandey was in power, the amount of Guyanese, East Indian Guyanese was flocking Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody had a problem with that. When Miss Kamala Prasad Bissessa was in government, the amount of Guyanese again and Indians from India in flux Trinidad and Tobago, how we didn't have any conflict concerning that. I know, yes, there's a tribulation that the people seeing why they have to flock relation. Yeah, is a problem. But then again, we have to remember, we having people coming here by the drove, and they live and still living. So we have to remember when there's a crisis, because we don't know what crisis we may end up in, you know. Look, this last year when we got our little earth trimmer in Trinidad and Tobago, it was not devious than that. What about the situation?
What about the flooding that took place in Greenville and how people felt?
You understand, big sister? So we had to understand what's taking place in a and this thing, as we say, I hear it from America, you know, where they say they're holding how much billions of dollars in gold from people.
Yeah.
You hear, big sister? We're causing the problem it having right now, you know.
The sanctions.
Yes. This is what causing the problem in this place right now, causing the people have to leave the
So
place.
Carol was actually right when she made the point about the U.S. Embassy and their policies affecting the Caribbean, not just Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, big sister, because I was calling in to congratulate Miss Carol.
No, she made a very salient point.
These is the people we have to deal with.
Train our guns at.
Yes. We supposed to be out there laying the ambassador for America and understand we are the people that getting hurt with the crisis they're causing in Venezuela.
That's correct.
That is what's supposed to be going on instead of we here trying to beat down on the people and all.
And the government really does not have any choice in the matter per se.
They have no choice.
They have no choice in the matter.
You say it's not building no thing to house nobody like no concentration camp. You say because when you do that, it is cause a problem. Because we are able to get them out now as how the minister set it up, that you could register X, Y, and Z until the time comes. If you build places to put these people in, it's a crisis to get them out when the time comes. So we have to understand what it is we're dealing with here, big sister.
Thank you.
Have a blessed day and you take care of yourself.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hello, morning. I work in a medical fraternity there in the field, and one of the biggest problems I see we could encounter, you see the influx of different sicknesses and disease. Not that we gonna brand anybody with it, but while these people coming in, they can have nobody by no border testing anyone for no kind of sickness at all.
I agree with that. I agree with that, caller. I agree absolutely. And that is one of the main issues, eh?
Yeah, that is what I'm worried about, because it don't have no testing at all, and then the health sector here already in a kind of way that is under pressure.
So perhaps the UN need to come on board in assisting the government with this by providing persons with certain qualifications to assist the government in doing the testings and what have you.
Yes,
I agree with you.
That is the main biggest problem I see, because if they don't have proper health, Trinidad going to be in a total mess, and we wouldn't be able to control. It's over 100 or 1,000 sicknesses out there, that we don't know of. Because over there, the health sector already fall apart. They're not even getting proper pipe-borne water. Yeah, so when they come here now, which we are allowing them to and trying to help them, but we're going to end up in a bigger problem with the health sector.
Not only that as well, part of the whole influx situation is largely prostitution, because a number of people see this influx, particularly with the females, to get a Spanish woman, and you don't know how many of them coming in here with venereal diseases, of all types. So and again, we really understand the fear. But we have to deal with it from a realistic point of view, that the government really has no choice. They are signatories to the humanitarian whatever. And the government at this time really need to look closely at managing this and providing resource persons in assisting in managing this.
Because I find they should put like a stop until they have like even like agents or some kind of doctors, people testing each and everyone by the border before they come in. You understand? Whoever tested good is okay.
A particular number of doctors just designated to dealing and treating with that.
Yes. I mean, you don't need a rocket scientist to know to do this. This is just the right thing to do. You understand?
Thank you.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you. You know, I really appreciate the discourse this morning. I appreciate all the contributions. I understand the fear as well. And, nobody's opinion is better than nobody's opinion, as far as I am concerned. And I was happy that we raised this issue because the discourse has to go on so that the government will understand the fears of the people in the country and they would be so advised, they would pick up little ideas as we go along, because the fears are real, and that is why I choose to discuss it this morning. Good morning, caller.
Hey, Julia, this is what Dr. Rowley said last year around June. He said he would not allow Trinidad to become a refugee camp. And the UN, bear in mind, we are not China, we are not Russia, we are not America. We are a limited island of 1.3 million people. And therefore we cannot and will not allow the UN spokesperson to convert us into a refugee camp. What's happened in 1 year?
Thank you, caller.
Some of that thing is opening up a refugee camp right here in Safaria.
And I'm happy that you said that, because a number of what is going on now in the country is politically motivated as well. And we have to know, the government has to use their intelligence to know who are the persons that are aiding and abetting the influx of these Venezuelans for political expediency. So people, the time is 9:53 a.m. We are almost at the top of the hour. Last caller. Good morning.
Yeah, Ms. Julia. You know, that is what I was saying just now. It affecting the different sectors, sectors. You understand? So we have to watch with our vision, and we must stop watching by our tone. You understand? And try to watch further than that. It's kind of like it's a call or something. I used to listen to them, and now I realize that them talking thing with the ear and they're not seeing. You understand? You telling me about going for work, and everybody look for work. Everybody wants to survive, but the wages we were supposed to be working for. This is really what we're supposed to be working for. We're not going to be getting that again because of the low wages these people are coming to take. So don't come and tell me I'm talking garbage. I just keep fire. I just keep fire. If you want to see right, that's your business, my brother. And the garbage you're telling me I'm talking is better you eat it.
Thank you. Same to you. Wow. Okay, people, let's not get angry. And as I said before, I really leaded the discourse that it is a contentious issue and it can bring enemies between people. But all in all, people, we have to be mature and we have to deal with the issue and treat with the issue rationally. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Yes, you have to be quick, caller.
One shot, one kill.
One shot, one kill.
Damn you do, damn you don't. You can't please everybody. We have a safe and blessed day. I'm gone.
Thank you. Okay, folks. Jason Shields is here. Top of the hour, 9:55 a.m. I leave it here. But you know what? We will continue the discourse tomorrow, God's willing, because it is a big national issue. People have fears that they are going to be losing their space, that the situation will bring a crisis in Trinidad, an epidemic in Trinidad and Tobago. So we will continue the discourse tomorrow. I will try my best to get as much information as I can so that I would be able to impart it to you. Folks, have a pleasant day. Keep it locked to the Street 919. Jason Shields is here. Bye. Love you.
again, Jah, as I fall on my knees today. Had me, God, I pray, don't wanna be carried away. It's me again, Jah, as I fall on my knees today. Had me, God, I pray, preserve my soul today.
The Return of Love 3, Together as One, June 1st. It's a love thing.
Description, baby. Come with me. Take my hand. Come with me, baby, to love land. Let me show you how sweet it could be. Sharing love here with me. I want you to float, float on. Come on.
My name is Charles. Now I like a woman that's quiet, a woman who carries herself like Miss Universe.
Of the word. And if you understand what I'm saying, I want you to take my hand. Come with me, baby, to love land. Let me show you how sweet it could be. Sharing love with me. I want you to so flow with me, baby. Float on, float on. Cancer, and my name is Larry. And I like a woman that loves everything and everybody. And you know what, ladies? If you feel that this is you, then this is what I want you to do. Take my hand, let me take you
street919fm.com. Here's what's happening.
Good morning. It's time for the news at 10 a.m. right here on the Street 919 FM. I am Jason Shields. These are the headlines. The Chief Justice is to be cross-examined in the Marcia Ayers Caesar case. 91 Venezuelans found hiding in Santa Flora camp. And in news overseas, 3 people die as tornadoes hit the U.S. state of Missouri. And now the details. Lawyers representing former Chief Magistrate Marcia Ayers Caesar have been granted permission to cross-examine Chief Justice Ivor Archie in her ongoing matter where she claimed she was pressured to resign after her appointment as a judge in 2017. In a judgment delivered at the Hall of Justice in Port of Spain on Wednesday, appellate judges Peter Jamadar and Gregory Smith ruled that presiding judge in the case, David Harris, made an error when he denied Mrs. Marcia Ayers Caesar the opportunity to question Mr. Archie over his claims in the case. Justice Jamadar suggested that the process was necessary based on a strong dispute between the parties over what transpired when the former chief magistrate tendered her resignation in April 2017 after it was discovered she left 53 cases unfinished. While the cross-examination is being allowed, it would be limited to the factual disputes in the case. Justice Jamadar suggested that cross-examination would be vital in helping Justice Harris determine the exceptional and extraordinary circumstances of the case. Mrs. Ayers Caesar is being represented by Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj and Ronnie Bisessa. In other news, 91 Venezuelans were found hiding in the bushes at a makeshift camp at Beach Road in Santa Flora on Wednesday. Police reported that 19 women, 62 men, and 10 children were in a crouched position while others were found inside the camp in a forested area. It was believed that the immigrants arrived in different boats on Tuesday. The discovery was triggered when Southwestern Division Task Force officers questioned one woman they saw walking along a